Chapter 19. The Nexuzar War Directive. In a remote and desolate area, shrouded in secrecy and accessible only through hidden pathways of folded space, a clandestine meeting was convened by Zalarian, the enigmatic leader of the Nexuzar. The atmosphere was charged with an unusual tension, breaking the characteristic tranquility of their otherworldly domain. Even Zalarian, known for his stoic and impassive demeanor, showed signs of irritation, his ethereal face contorting ever so slightly with displeasure, a rare and unsettling occurrence for the leader who was typically the epitome of calm. The central issue of this secretive assembly was a recent and heated confrontation with General Thraka of the Draxarians, focusing on the deteriorating quality of conscripts obtained through the controversial voluntary departure program. Zalarian, maintaining his composure yet with an undercurrent of frustration, addressed the assembly. His voice, usually harmonious and composed, carried a tone of unmistakable annoyance. "This blunder has significantly disrupted our operations. The caliber of our conscripts is not just a requirement, but the cornerstone of our strategy," he articulated with a controlled intensity. Zalarian's gaze swept across the room, his eyes piercing through the veneer of political posturing. "We must rectify this situation immediately. The stability of our arrangement and the effectiveness of our operations depend on it," he continued, emphasizing the need for immediate action. The leaders, now fully aware of the precarious nature of their alliance with the Nexuzar, nodded in agreement, with a sense of urgency taking hold. They knew that their future interactions with the Nexuzar would require a more careful and considered approach, especially given the delicate nature of their ongoing collaboration. As the meeting progressed under the watchful eyes of Zalarian, a startling revelation unfolded, sending ripples of shock among the gathered Earth leaders. Zalarian, with a controlled but unmistakably critical tone, disclosed the troubling findings of the Nexuzar's evaluation of the voluntary departure program. "Upon our thorough assessment, we have discovered a disturbing trend," Zalarian began, his voice resonating with a subtle intensity. "Numerous Earth governments have been systematically emptying their psychiatric facilities, redirecting their mentally challenged populations into the voluntary departure program." The room fell into an uneasy silence as the leaders processed this information. The gravity of their collective decisions, now laid bare by Zalarian, was a harsh reality to confront. This manipulation and exploitation of vulnerable populations had led to the production of substandard conscripts, significantly impacting the quality of Teradal and sparking the recent confrontation with General Thraka. The leaders exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of their actions settling in. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others lowered their gaze, unable to meet Zalarian's piercing stare. The revelation exposed a moral dilemma that many had chosen to overlook in their quest for political and strategic gains. This irresponsible practice has not only jeopardized our operations, but has also led to a loss in Teradal production, a crucial resource in our endeavors, Zalarian continued, his disappointment evident. "Such short-sightedness cannot be tolerated." The impact of Zalarian's words was profound. Leaders were now acutely aware of the consequences of their actions, not only on their own populations but also in the grand scheme of the cosmic conflict. It was at this moment that British Prime Minister Aaron Jones stood, seizing the opportunity to shift the focus. His voice, steady yet charged with implication, broke the uneasy silence. "I must bring a crucial matter to light," Prime Minister Jones announced, commanding the room's attention. "President Mikhail Petrov of Russia has been engaged in a covert plot against the Nexuzar. This reckless action endangers not only our delicate alliance, but also the safety of our planet." The room erupted into a discord of gasps and murmurs as the leaders absorbed the gravity of the accusation. President Petrov rose to confront the claim. "Yes, I affirm my actions," he declared boldly. "It's time we, the stewards of Earth, took a stand. We cannot remain subservient in the shadow of extraterrestrial interests." The room's energy shifted as some leaders nodded in agreement, stirred by Petrov's call to action, while others seemed apprehensive, wary of the consequences of defying the Nexuzar. Zalarian, who had been observing the unfolding drama with a veneer of calm, remained silent, his gaze piercing through the political posturing. Unfazed by the rising strife, President Petrov continued, his voice resonating with fervor. We must unite as sovereign nations, defending our right to self-determination. We are not mere pawns to be maneuvered by alien forces. His impassioned plea ignited a flame of resistance among some leaders, while others remained visibly tense, torn between the moral imperative to defend Earth's sovereignty and the fear of alien backlash. In an attempt to restore a semblance of order, Prime Minister Jones interjected. We must approach this with strategic caution. The potential for alien retribution is a reality we cannot ignore. We need a balanced response, not precipitous defiance. Zalarian, sensing the growing unrest and the potential for a shift in Earth's political landscape, decided to assert the Nexuzar's dominance in a chillingly effective manner. We will initiate what you humans call World War III, he announced with a tone that was as calm as it was menacing. Drixarians will receive the millions of conscripts they require, and a significant portion will come from Russia. This war will target not only Russia, but any nation that dares to stand with them. This is the price of defiance. His declaration sent a shiver through the assembly. Let this be a lesson, Zalarian continued, his voice devoid of emotion yet resonating with authority. No plots against the Nexuzar shall go unpunished. In the days that followed, the Nexuzar swiftly and subtly manipulated digital platforms across Earth. Their advanced algorithms infiltrated social media, spreading propaganda and misinformation to turn global public opinion against Russia. The campaign was insidiously effective, playing on fears and prejudices to fan the flames of hostility. Across the world, the public perception shifted dramatically. Protests erupted in various countries, demanding action against Russia. The narrative crafted by the Nexuzar was convincing, portraying Russia as the aggressor, a threat to global stability. Governments faced mounting pressure from their citizens to take a stand against Russia, further isolating the nation on the international stage. President Petrov, watching the unfolding events with outrage, realized the extent of the Nexuzar's influence. His call for Earth's autonomy had backfired, triggering a global backlash that threatened to plunge his country into a devastating conflict. The Earth leaders, now aware of the dire consequences of crossing the Nexuzar, were left in a state of turmoil. The realization that their sovereignty was a mere illusion under the shadow of extraterrestrial manipulation weighed heavily on them. The Nexuzar strategy had effectively neutralized the threat of unity among Earth's nations, ensuring their continued dominance. As the world teetered on the brink of war, the human conscripts, still ensnared in the machinations of the Nexuzar and the Drixarians, found their fate intertwined with the tumultuous events unfolding on their home planet. The prospect of World War III, instigated by alien forces, was a stark reminder of the fragile state of human affairs and the perilous path that lay ahead. Meanwhile, on Earth, other government leaders, gripped by fear of Drixarian retribution and the threat of their people being taken as conscripts, aligned themselves with Zalarian's directive. The result was a significant increase in Russian conscripts being sent to the Drixarians, a direct consequence of the global sentiment against them. The Russian president, outraged by the betrayal and the global stance against his country, called upon the other leaders to stand up for the human race. Despite knowing the technological superiority of the Nexuzar and the Drixarians, he boldly threatened Zalarian. Any Drixarian or Nexuzar ship found in Russian skies will be shot down, he declared, his voice a mix of defiance and desperation. This declaration marked a turning point in Earth's political landscape. The Russian president's call to arms and his threat to the alien forces, though symbolic in the face of their advanced technology, resonated with a segment of the global population. It sparked a debate about the role of Earth's governments in the face of extraterrestrial manipulation and the moral implications of the voluntary departure program. As the Nexuzar and Drixarian machinations continued to shape global politics, the human conscripts, still caught in the midst of an interstellar conflict, found themselves at the center of a galactic chess game. The actions of the Russian president, though fraught with risk, hinted at a potential shift in Earth's stance against their alien manipulators. The seeds of dissent were being sown, and the ripples of these actions were destined to reach far beyond the confines of Earth, potentially altering the course of the cosmic conflict.